Hello, this is Caleb Barney with Russell Real Estate, and today I wanted to go over an article from CNN Business titled Here's What to Expect in the Housing Market This Year. So, just full disclosure, this article was actually written about a month ago on January 5th. A lot of it does apply still today, though, so that's why I wanted to go over what they're saying there over at CNN, or at least the opinion piece by Anna over here. So essentially, what she says here is that last year, 2022, was a crazy market for housing. And partly the main reason for that was the crazy fast rise in interest rates. We started the year at about 3.1%. We peaked in late October at about 7.37%. And then home prices dropped for the last month and a half or so in basically to wrap up 2022. So what she says is, okay, what's coming in store for 2023? Well, housing experts and economists are not in agreement. So economists' predictions range from prices rising by about 5% this year to as much as a 22% decline, according to John Burns Real Estate Consulting. I have no idea what they're talking about over there at John Burns. I've heard that they are a reputable company. I'm assuming that they're based in the West Coast because I have no idea how that can even be possible. A 22% decline nationwide. So if they're talking about certain areas, especially the areas that saw the biggest rise in appreciation the past couple of years, sure, I could see that going back down. But nationally, I find that hard to believe that there would be a 22% decline just because, that means if that's the average, you might have some places that are at, minus 5%, and you might have other places that are at almost a, minus 40%. And I just find that hard to believe. Anyways, what they say here is what happens with the inventory, mortgage rates, and the broader economy will likely determine which tack the market takes. I completely agree with that statement. Inventory, obviously, that's the amount of houses that are available for sale. If that number stays at these very, very low rates or very, very low numbers, then supply is going to be down, and demand, you can only keep it down for so long. Yes, the days of 3 and 4% interest rates are long gone, but I think that a lot of people have basically come to terms with the fact that, hey, interest rates are what they are. They're going to be around 6% now, and if they go down in the future, then I'll refinance. But I'm not going to hold my breath and try to wait for mortgage rates to get back down into the 5s and 4s to buy a house, because guess what? Everybody else is going to jump into the market at that time too. So inventory needs to go up for prices to not continue to keep escalating. Mortgage rates need to stabilize. I'm not saying that they even need to come down much. So as of right now, they're at about 6.45%. So I'm not even saying that they need to go down much, but hey, if we can hover around 6% or so, which we did actually hit just below 6% a couple of weeks ago, and basically just have minimal fluctuations, I think that will actually increase the amount of buyers that are looking. And then the broader economy. There's been talk of recession for the past 6 to 9 months. Will we actually see a recession? Will we feel a recession? A lot of people tend to forget that technically right after COVID started here and everything was shut down in March, we actually did hit a recession in 2020, and then we got right out of it. Can we do something similar to that if we go into another recession here? So those are kind of the three major factors that are going to determine what happens to the housing market this year. So, of course, mortgage rates kind of is the main thing that most people will talk about, just because it's a very easy number to track, whereas people aren't really sure. Like, I mean, usually you can see if we're in a recession after the fact, and then same thing, tracking inventory. Most people just don't have the necessary information to track that, let alone, inventory and housing supply is going to be very specific to your market. I hear the Arizona market, parts of the Arizona market, I should say, are seeing huge increases in inventory. Well, that's going to hurt house prices because you're going to have a surplus of supply. But where I'm at in Northeast Ohio, that's not really the case, which I'll show you those numbers here in a little bit. So, what he's saying right here is another thing he's keeping an eye on is inventory of homes for sale, which is already almost back up to where it was in 2020. I said I'd show it to you here in a little bit. I'm just going to go here right now. Basically, what I have looking here is within 25 miles of Strongsville, Ohio. Strongsville is a suburb of Cleveland. So basically, this would include all of Cuyahoga County, which is where Cleveland is in, all of Medina County, Summit County, which is where Akron's at, and then Lorain County as well. And you could see the months of inventory. We're at 3.33 months of inventory for the month of January in 2023. In 2020, we were at 4.25. So we're about halfway between where we were in 2020, January 2020, and January 2021. So it still is a seller's market here, just obviously not quite as strong as it was the past couple of years there. So where will home prices go is the big question. Zillow forecasts home prices nationally will decline by between 1% and 4% from last June's levels. And honestly, what I see, because I do get all of the Zillow emails as well, for the zip codes that I'm following, they are basically projecting it to be flat. Some are plus, 0.6 or whatever, and then some are minus 0.6. Basically, I'm seeing a spread of -1 to +1% there. So that's, not unrealistic. I actually do see the Cleveland area holding up pretty well and being in a slight positive. I could see it being, 2 to 4%, something like that, on the positive side. What the National Association of Realtors projects is that prices will go up less than 1% nationally. So basically, they're saying it's going to be nearly flat. But essentially what they said is they warned that even this small shift masks a lot of regional variability. So according to their chief economist, half the country may experience small price gains, while the other half may experience slight price declines. So again, makes sense. It's going to be completely local to whatever housing market you're in. But he does go on to say, however, markets in California may be the exception, with San Francisco, for example, likely to register price drops of 10 to 15%. I see that basically for a lot of West Coast areas. So whether it's California, whether it's Idaho, because I know Boise saw a huge run up for the past couple of years, even places like Phoenix, Arizona, I could see price decreases happening much more readily there compared to your steady Midwest markets like Ohio and specifically Northeast Ohio. So that's kind of what we can expect there. What can buyers expect with mortgage rates? So the days of 3 or 4% rates are gone for the foreseeable future, but the rates will likely settle in below the pre-pandemic historical rate of 8%, according to housing economists' consensus. Wow, what a cop-out of a sentence that is. Okay, so it won't be 4%, it'll be between 5 and 8%. Most people that I talk with that are loan originators or in the mortgage industry are saying it'll be between 5.75 and 6.5% this year. there's going to be fluctuation this year, just like there was last year. But if we can hover around 6% plus or minus, a quarter to a half point, I think that that's going to be healthy. As far as inflation needing to cool off, again, this article is about a month old. Inflation data at the end of 2022 is promising, and honestly, the beginning of 2023 has been pretty promising as well. So that's good. Those are all good things that we can hopefully look forward to for 2023. When they say when will be a good time to buy in 2023, they don't actually answer that in this article, which, I don't blame them, because realistically, nobody has a crystal ball. So, if you're in a position where you want to move or you need to move due to your life circumstances and you can afford to move, I would say if you find that right house, then go for it, then buy it. There's pros and cons to buying at any particular point in time. Right now, you probably are competing against less competition in the buyer's market, or as far as a buyer's market is concerned, because rates are still a little higher. With them being at 6.4%, it being the winter time, maybe you could get a better deal because there are fewer homes on the market too, and there are fewer buyers. If you wait until the summer, sure, interest rates might decrease by then, but usually there's going to be way more competition for you because other people are looking to move in the summer as well, for a variety of reasons. So I say don't try to time the market. Whatever works for you from a financial perspective and then from a needs and wants basis, go for it. The thing that I thought was cool here that I actually really agree is he says, the big surprise for a lot of people might be that the market has a really boring year. It would be a great change of pace. A plain, boring, vanilla year in the housing market would be a wonderful surprise just because home prices have drastically appreciated the past couple of years. And realistically, we saw about a decade's worth of home price appreciation squeezed into 3 years. So we need to get back on track to a healthier level, and that's also going to help with inflation and everything like that too. So hopefully this year we're seeing essentially a neutral price point from what we had last year, maybe a slight gain, and and go from there. But that's basically what we're seeing here for the housing market in 2023. I know that Anna kind of gave a couple of different opinions there, of course. And as I say, every housing market is hyper local. You can't compare what's going on in Northeast Ohio to what's going on in California, or Florida or Texas or any place like that. So talk with a local real estate agent who actually studies the data and understands the data. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thanks. Have a great day.